Okay, we are here at the bandsaw. We're going to take a look at the different features of this machine. So first of all, in our shop, we have two bandsaws. They are exactly the same except for their size. This is our 14-inch bandsaw. The other is an 18-inch bandsaw. And what that size refers to is simply the diameter of the wheels, which is going to dictate the capacity of the machine. So let's take a look at this saw here. First thing I want to do is just open up this top door here and show you the wheel inside. And what you'll notice is that this wheel spins, and the blade is a long continuous band that runs down under the table around a lower wheel, which we'll see in a second, back up and around in a continuous form like that. This door that I've just opened is a door that you will never open. The only time we open this door is when we need to change the blade on the machine or perform some sort of maintenance. We have a guard system in place on the bandsaw that includes an upper and a lower guard. So first, looking at the upper guard, this red door here opens and it protects you from the blade behind here. Okay, we have lower guide blocks as well that help the blade track in a straight line and prevent it from wandering off of your cut line too far. The other thing that these do is they limit the exposure that you have to the blade. When we adjust this, and we'll take a look at that in a later video, but when we adjust this, we're going to adjust this close to our material so that when the saw is in operation, we're minimizing the exposure to the blade right here. So we have the upper guard and we've got the guides. Underneath the table, there's a second guard and there's a second set of guides. Let's take a look at those. Looking underneath the table of the machine, we have our lower guide, and up underneath here, it's hard to see, but there's another set of guide blocks that help keep the blade tracking correctly. When we adjust this guard, what we need to do is raise it into the up position and tighten these hand screws. And that protects us from the blade in the event that the blade were to break. It will keep the blade from coming out underneath the table there. So that is the lower guard on this machine. While we're down here, I want to show you the lower wheel and the brake system on these saws. So if I open up this bottom door, you can see here that we have a lower wheel, just like on top of the machine. And if you look behind, we have a disc brake on here. This pedal right here activates this brake, and we use that for two things. The first thing that we use this brake pedal for is just with gentle pressure, just like on your bicycle or in your car when you're approaching a stop sign, you apply gentle, steady pressure to your brakes, and that will slow down your vehicle. It's the same idea here. Slow, gentle pressure on the brake pedal will gently slow down the machine and bring it to a stop. The other thing that this will do is, in the event of an emergency, we can stomp on this pedal hard and fast, and it will stop the blade and it will cut power to the motor so that the blade doesn't start spinning when we release the pedal. We only want to stomp on this pedal if there's an actual emergency or some sort of problem. We don't want to be stomping on this pedal if there isn't some sort of an issue with the saw. Like I mentioned before, this bottom door is only opened when we're doing maintenance on the machine. So you should not be opening this door during the course of this class. Taking a look at the power panel here on the saw, we've got 3 buttons. The green button in the center starts the motor. The bottom red button is our stop button, And then the large top button is our emergency stop. And what the emergency stop does is it locks out the motor and prevents it from being turned back on. Right now, if the dust collector were turned on and I pressed our start button, the machine would not start because this emergency stop button is pushed in. If I pull it out, now the machine is ready to operate. Keep in mind, pressing the emergency stop does not stop the blade. It only cuts power and turns off the motor of the saw. The other thing to keep in mind with this machine is that the dust collector does have to be turned on in order for it to operate. So right now, with the dust collector turned off, I can press the start button and nothing happens because the dust collector is turned off in the shop. As we look at the table of the machine, there's a couple of things for you to be aware of. Number one, we have this blue insert in the center of the table, which helps support your workpiece right here at the cut point. You cannot operate this saw without a blue table insert installed. The second thing is that we have an adjustable fence on these machines that can be oriented either horizontally or vertically and assist in making straight cuts. These saws will make very straight cuts if you utilize the fence and if your guard is set correctly. So when you're making your straight cuts, make sure you use the fence to get a nice straight cut. I will show you in a later video how to remove the fence if you need to, if it's in your way. Looking at the side of the machine, we have one control here that you need to be aware of and know how to use. And that is this knob right here that is the adjustment handle for the guard. It raises and lowers the guard on the saw. So I'm going to unlock real quick and show you how turning this handle easily raises and lowers the guard system. If the guard does not move when you turn this handle, it's because it is locked and it needs to be unlocked. I'll show you the locking mechanism here in a second. Looking at the back side of the saw, there are a few controls that you need to be aware of, but only one of which you will ever use. The one that you will use is right here, and this is the lock for the guard. With this tightened, when I turn the handle, the guard does not move. This is my indication that I need to unlock the locking mechanism. With it unlocked, it does easily move up and down so I can make my adjustments. So this is the locking knob. The next control we have is this long handle here. This increases and decreases the tension on the wheel. If you pull this lever down and detension the blade, the saw will not operate correctly or safely. You will not use this handle in this class. The next control is this knob in the center here, which controls the camber or the angle of the wheel that the blade travels on. I do not want you making any adjustments to this because the blade will come off the wheel and break if you make a change to this knob here. The third and final adjustment is this lower knob here. This adjusts the tension of the blade. Again, changing the tension will decrease accuracy and make the machine a little bit more dangerous. So you will not use this knob here either. So a reminder, the only control of these four that you will use is this one right here to lock and unlock the guard mechanism on the saw.